Okay, we're back. Lockdown series. Quick shout out to our listeners. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, drop this video a like. And if you're listening, drop us a review on iTunes. So today, whatever the day is today, we have another special guest, recommended actually by one of our previous guests, Fahad Khan. And we have Tomas Maunier. I pronounced that right?
Yeah, Maunier, good.
Nice. So people don't know you. Give us a bio, and then we're going to...
I'll give you a quick bio then. I am the managing director and co-founder of Fazenda Restaurants. My life begins far away from here in Brazil. And I'm from Argentina because my family is more from Argentina, and I lived most of my life in Argentina. I arrived in the UK in 2007. I'm actually a lawyer. And a lawyer turned to marketeer, and eventually ended up in the world of hospitality. Started working in the restaurants when we started Fazenda in 2010 in Leeds. And so yeah, that's a very short bio. Yeah, I could talk for days, but I just try to put it into a few sentences.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, do you know what? Let's start with Argentina. So, what was life like as a kid? What did you do? Were you big into studying? Give us like a bit of your childhood. What was that like?
Brazil and Argentina are very different. I lived until I was 10 in Brazil. I think the country and they are obviously very close to each other. They're borders, yeah, but and they're massive. People sometimes don't realize how big they are. You know, saying I come from Brazil is God, it's like Brazil and Argentina are the size of the whole Europe. Yeah, so that will just give you a little bit of an understanding of how big it is. But in Brazil, when I was growing up there, it was all about, you know, the weather was quite nice. It was nice and warm. I was living, spending a lot of time in the streets. It was a small city. I was growing up in a city called São José dos Campos, which is near Sao Paulo. So Sao Paulo is massive. It's like a London size, yeah. São José would be probably like a Leeds size city, something like that. You know, just spending a lot of time out and about. And then I moved to Buenos Aires with my family when I was 10. Buenos Aires is like living in London. So I was living in a little apartment, you know, and walking to school. And life was very different back then. You know, at that time, you know, I still remember being able to walk to school when I was 10, you know, by my own, because, you know, parents weren't scared of the things that parents are scared about nowadays. Yeah. And so I used to walk to school, spend all day in school, and then come back home. And my mom would be working, my dad would be working, and then they'd come back home. And, you know, again, some things are quite different. You know, you have dinner at 10 o'clock in the evening, 9 o'clock in the evening. You wake up a little bit later, but it was very much about people. It was really about spending time in the street with people, talking to friends, going to friends' houses all the time. You know, finish school, and you didn't go straight home. You probably went to a friend's house, and then eventually you ended up coming back home for dinner, 9 o'clock in the evening or 8. So it was very social, and obviously I grew up, you know, being a little bit bigger, like a teenager, and then going to my 20s. It was really about spending time at friends' houses or friends coming over to my house or my mum's house. And it was very social. And when I arrived here in the UK, I remember that was the first thing that shocked me, really, the difference of culture that the UK had. You know, people meet friends in the pub, or they go out for drinks and, you know, into the whatever, a bar, or you know, or they go for a dinner. But how often do you go to a friend's house, and how often do friends come to your place? You know, I remember, you know, growing up in Buenos Aires, people used to come to our place all the time, or I used to go with my friends probably 6 times a week, or maybe 5 times a week. And I'm not exaggerating here. But if I would, I'll probably say 7, because I'm trying to remember now how often I was alone at home, and it wasn't that many. And that was the first impression I had. That you know, I realized that life would be different here. And then I tell you a little story, actually. This is funny, actually. not my first job. In my second job here in the UK, I was working for a big agency from London, and we were responsible for the below the line marketing for Halifax and Bank of Scotland, so the HBOS, yeah. And I had a boss. Maybe she might be listening. I don't know. Maybe she is. Yeah. But she very good looking, great boss, you know. And she met my wife. You know, I came here with my wife from Argentina. And one day I came over to her and I said, "Hey, why don't you come over home on Friday? What are you doing on Friday nights? You want to come over?" And she said, "Thomas, what are you talking about? You're married." I said, No. What are you talking about, Rachel? It's all good. Just come over. Look, just bring a bottle of wine. Everything's going to be all right. I'm going to ask the other guys here to come as well. And every time I was speaking to people saying, "Hey, come over on Friday at my house." It's like, whoa, wait a minute. What are you talking about? We just met you like a few weeks ago. It's like, no, listen, just come over. I'm going to cook something nice. I'm cooking nice few steaks. And that's what we did. And then from there, we actually started going to different friends' house regularly, and now we still continue doing this with this group of people. You know, we still every now and then go to someone's house, and they come to ours, and it just became a little bit that little Argentinian tradition kind of style.
No, that's definitely nice, man. I mean, I can kind of relate to it and see it. A lot of my family are back home in Mauritius, and they've got that kind of, I guess it might be the same kind of spirit where you all get together, have food, and you do it every day, and it becomes kind of a norm. And I think here in England as well, people can sometimes feel a little bit edgy about, unless you're not really good friends with people, then it's not likely that they'll let their full guard down and be able to chill and relax. It's interesting to hear that story.
Another edgy thing here, look. In Argentina, men kiss each other, you know, not in the mouth, but, you know, just like, how are you, man? Big hugs, you know, everything is very, very physical, very nice. Everybody's okay. We're very strong with our masculinity, if you know what I mean, yeah? Not scared. And every time I'm going to go, even women, when I go and see now today, women, I meet new people, you know, all the time. And I just go and give them kisses. It's like, whoa, everybody's like freezes, like, what's going on? And you're right. You know, they're a little like, "Oh, wait a minute! I just met you. What are you doing?" You know, and it's like, "Hey, relax, because this is life, man."
Is that what life is like back then in Argentina? Things really laid back and like relaxed.
Well, I wouldn't say that. You know, Buenos Aires is the capital of the world. It's like living in London. You know, people are really stressed, and it's all about work. And it's like literally people start work. That's why I said, you know, I remember we had dinner at, again, 9, 10 p.m. That's because my parents got back home at 8. Yeah, but they left at 8 o'clock. So it's normal. People are working 12 hours a day. That's the norm, you know? And not because that's everywhere in Argentina. If you go to the suburbs or you go to smaller cities in the country, the work ratio is different. The way that the pace, everything is different, obviously. But in the capital, there's no difference in London, you know? That's it's like a clock ticking all the time. Ticky, 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 ticky. You're always doing things. So no, it's not necessarily laid back, but what it definitely is a lot more sociable. I do think that the way that people interact is a little bit more open. You know, I think people are not, I don't know, scared or worried about what people may feel or think. You know, it's just really about just get on with it. That kind of feeling, you know.
What do you think about that, James?
You hit the nail on the head. It's so true. Obviously, I'm born and raised in Bradford and Leeds in the UK, and when you meet people from different cultures, the first one was when I used to go to your house, Julian, because your mum she always wants to make sure you're okay. Like, do you want another, like, a cup of tea? Do you want some more biscuits? This, like, really look after you. And if you go to my family's house, it's like, once you've been there once or twice, it's like, yeah, you know where everything is. Look after yourself. And it's kind of strange. So really, I totally understand what you're saying. And then that culture merging is like two polar parts. And then you meet in the middle.
You just don't know how people are going to react sometimes to it, do you? Like,
that shouldn't stop you from being free in that sense, you know. That shouldn't, you know. People will react the way they react. But, you know, James, something that you just mentioned there now. Actually, when I do a lot of events in the restaurants, and I meet a lot of people, and I always tell them this little side of the story that I think it's very important for people to realize this. That really, you know, I when I talk about how people in hospitality, yeah, how people behave and how they work. Can you guys hear me? Okay,
Yeah.
I think everything froze there a little bit. Yeah. And when I talk about hospitality, and I talk about you know how you host people and how you welcome people, and people ask me, why is it that you've got so many people from Europe or from abroad working with you? And I say, well, we don't choose that. It just happens because you recruit people, and you have a lot of people that come into hospitality from Europe, and they're happy to do it, and it's their choice because they love doing it. And then I try to analyze that a little bit, and then I realize that really what makes a difference, I think, is the fact that when I grew up, I was just saying to you guys, my parents used to have friends coming to home all the time. And I was a kid and I was growing up. And you know what we did? I was helping my parents host guests at home. So I was putting the table, cleaning the table, helping my mom cook, and then, do you need anything else, sir? No problems. Yeah, want some water. And you were hosting, you were, making jokes, telling you about your stories, telling you what happened in school, even to my mom's friends, and that makes you feel comfortable and confident to actually serving people, being there to make people feel special and happy doesn't make you less. But when I speak to people from the UK sometimes and I ask them, hey, why don't you choose hospitality? Well, hospitality, I'll be serving other people. That's not great, is it? I prefer to do other jobs. Say, why? Why not? And then I think the way that we were raised really has an impact on the way that we see hospitality. And I think, Latins in general, Spain, Italy, France, Portuguese people, they're very open about this because they do things the same way as we are very Latin. And in Argentina, Brazil, we are descendants from Portugal and Spain and Italy, and that's where we got this from. And I feel that it's getting much better here in the UK. I do believe that I've seen a lot more people realizing that hospitality is a very good career, but I don't see that many people realizing that serving others has a lot to do with the way that you see the job and that you were raised when you were growing up. And you just mentioned it now, James. You said, yeah, the second time you start saying, hey, where the cookies are, just go and get them. If I did that at my house, my mom will kill me. It would be, what are you saying? You're hosting these guests, Thomas. Just go and get something for them, And do you understand what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when you go back to your younger days, what was your passion? What did you aspire to be when you grew up? Did you have a dream or a dream job?
Well, funnily enough, my children asked me this 2 nights ago. We want to have a dinner, and my son, he's 8. He asked me, Dad, what did you want to be when you were kids? He said, did you want to be a footballer? And I said, look, I love football. I love sports. I always loved sports from when I was a kid, but I was not necessarily very good. I'm not bad, but I always knew that, no, I'm not going to be a sportsman. I always got that very clear. But I remember, in my case, my parents didn't have an impact on me directly. My mom and my dad's, I never looked up to, I want to do what they were doing. But movies had a lot to do with my decisions, really, TV, yeah. But the first thing I can remember, I said this to my son, is the first thing I remember was I wanted to be a chef. And then he asked me why, and I said, because I met a chef that was absolutely incredible. One of my friends, her dad's, he is, well, he's known as one of the best chefs that Argentina ever produced. His name is Francis Malman. I don't know if you've ever watched the Chef's Table documentaries in Netflix. Yeah, he's, I think, the second one on the second episode is him. Yeah, so you were talking about a top guy. Yeah, and I remember once meeting this guy. He just was whatever 13 maybe. I saw this guy and I thought, oh my God, you know what? I want to be a chef. I would love to be like this guy. That only lasted maybe 6 months or a year. I don't remember now, but it wasn't like the big thing. But that's what I remember today. And then I realized that after that, the next thing was I saw Wall Street. You know the movie Wall Street, and I saw Charlie Sheen, Gordon Gekko, and I thought, fancy doing that. I fancy doing that. And I remember that at that time there's a newspaper in Argentina called Ámbito Financiero. It's like the Financial Times, yeah, of Argentina, yeah. And they did a little game that it's like they gave you $1 million and you had to put the money into different shares or uh, different countries or in the yen or here or there, just like in different businesses and I loved playing it. And it was like one of those fantasy footballs, but for businesses, for investors, yeah. And I played it, and I was like maybe 15 or so, I think. And I loved it, and I thought, oh my god, I'll be brilliant at this. But that also didn't last long because what happened to me personally is that my mum's side, they not my mum, but my mum's family side, they are notaries. In Argentina, to be a notary, you have to be a lawyer first. It's actually quite a difficult career. It's a very important job for the society, actually. So pretty much every house that you buy, or every car that you buy, or every important transaction, every company that's created, and it's done through notaries in continental law, in European law. Yeah, and that's what we have in Argentina. And with time, when I was 15 or so, every summer I started working in my family's office. Yeah, the family law buffet, or whatever the name is, but. And I started working there, and without me noticing, they started luring me in. And by the time I was 17, without me even wanting it, that was going to be my business. And because every summer or every winter, as soon as there was a school break, my granddad used to come and pick me up every day, yeah, and take me to the office and work together. So I started studying law, and halfway through my career, I realized that it wasn't what I wanted to do, but it wasn't my choice, really. I didn't realize it was never my choice. It happened through pressure, in a way, yeah. And at that point, I realized it wasn't. I didn't want to do that, and that what I really fancied was marketing. And then that's also because when I was last year in school, I also did something called junior achievement, which is a thing from the US. Actually, I just remember two things that I did. The US project that schools create their own business, and you have to go and sell and make money, yeah. And you're like a 15, 17-year-old, and then you create your own business and everything. And I loved doing that. And I was the marketing manager at that point of that little business. I enjoyed it a lot. But the last thing I did actually was I started working for the United Nations in Argentina. So before I moved on to really studying law, I did a UN mock. I don't know if you know about those. It's like different schools represent different countries, and then you go into one place and you pretend that you're a UN diplomat. Yeah. And then I started thinking, oh, I would love to be a diplomat as well. So the different things that happened to me, it was like I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But halfway through my career, I realized that law wasn't for me. And this is why I'm really teaching children at the moment. James, you send me a message to do this because you saw this little thing that I'm doing with schools, our Thrive, our project. And what I'm trying to tell children is my little story. That is, it doesn't really matter what you choose today or what you choose in the future or whatever, whatever road whatever path you choose whilst you're walking it. Yeah. You don't box yourself, just let life take you. Let your instinct and yourself take you to wherever it is that you're going to end up. Because I was boxed, sometimes because I chose, but sometimes because it was imposed by my family. And one day I realized and I broke out, yeah. And then by doing that, I met my wife. By doing that, I started working in marketing. By doing that, I ended up in this country. By not being shackled in a way, yeah, I was running. I was in a good position, a good job, running, as I said before, below the marketing, below the line marketing for HBOS in a way with a group of people. I had a career in marketing, And I just met a fellow Argentinian that had a restaurant in Huddersfield. And then one day he said to me, why don't we do this together? And I just dropped everything and jumped into this career of hospitality. And what I'm trying to say is, if I have not listened to my guts, to my instincts, to my feelings, I wouldn't be where I am today, running this amazing business, big business, massive brands, continue growing. And, and actually today I feel that I represent the industry, an industry that I had just been dealing with for 10 years with passion. And what I'm trying to say with this is, to everybody out there, even if you're old, not if you're just a child, if you are, 25, 22, 23, whatever age it is, 30, because I actually chose Fazenda when I was 30. Just don't stop, just follow your gut feelings, take risks in life, measure them obviously, but I do believe that you just need to keep walking. You just need to, if there's a road ahead that is not the normal road that you'll take, but you feel that there's the one that you need to take it, just let it take it, and that's how I see it. Sorry, do I talk too much?
No, that's such a positive message, man. I totally agree with that. I can kind of relate to that myself. Like growing up, I've had like all kinds of jobs. I've been a baker. I've gone off and worked in hospitality for at least 4 or 5 years. And I think, nice. I don't know, like doing these things as well, like I've learned so much about myself doing it, being in those spaces. And I remember like when you were mentioning working in hospitality, I remember doing it. I worked in Sydney. There was this place called the Star Casino, and there was like 150 of us like serving people every night. And it is actually like a really nice vibe. You're getting on with your friends, you're talking and you're serving people, and it is like, it's such a relaxed environment, and I can see why people fall in love working in it. And being in hospitality as well, you'll see all kind of ages, you'll see young to old people, and they've all got that smile on their face. I don't know how to describe it, but they've all got like a little spark. You can see that they'll talk and be ready to speak to people as they should in their job. But I definitely think it's something that people can do a lot more, like especially here for skill building and what's another word? Just for communicating, really, because I think that's one thing.
This is what you say now, Julian. It's bang on, because I was reading a book about Disney, actually. Yeah, so it's the ex-vice president of Disney, and he's talks about how to be a good leader and that kind of stuff. But there's one part of that book that really shocked me. It shocked me in a good way. Just like a little, come on, this is the way. He said that he recommends that every person at some point in their life, they should work in hospitality. If you want to be a good leader, work in hospitality. Because the guy was saying that the skills that you learn by interacting with people on a daily basis, just by little thing that you were saying now, Julian, this little vibe, this little thing, talking to people, making sure that you can see what people want and how they feel even before they even raise their hands or even they raise their eyebrows, whatever it is, that little thing that you've got about understanding people's emotions and their faces and what they do, you only get it by working hospitality, really. And dealing with difficult, guests is such an important thing, because then, you become confident, you become strong, you become a different person, just purely by knowing how to deal with those cases. And then imagine, that transferable skill when you are having issues at your office, whatever it is that you do, you can see it happening before it happens. You know how to deal with the situation. You know how to turn a bad into a good. All those skills, whatever it is that you want to do in life, they can definitely be transferred.
No, definitely. Yeah, I'm sorry, James, after you, mate.
No, I was just going to say, me and Julian had this conversation the other day, like we brainstormed some questions for a rainy day, basically when we maybe had no guests or whatever. And this was the one, like, what is the perfect starter job? Like, one of the best jobs you can first get. And we both said, like, I've worked in a bar, Julian's worked in a bar, restaurant, bakery. And saying, like, hospitality is one of the best gateway jobs for any career. Like, obviously you put it better than we do, but we can totally appreciate what you're saying. Like you say, it's bang on. It's so accurate. It teaches you a lot about yourself, about your own maybe your own ego, like how to keep yourself in check, might give you some shit, and your first instinct might be to, oh, what the fuck? But then you have to, what can I do for you? How can I make this better? And it teaches you a lot about, you know, your own emotions and managing them, and in a small.
I think it makes you professional as well. It's the first professional step for a lot of people, you know, because it really depends where you work, obviously, but you know, the examples I can give is what I've seen. You know, these guys, young guys, going to college or university, they're just thinking, you know, fuck, you know, sorry, I just need a little bit of money, so you know what, I'm just gonna jump and work behind the bar, or I'm gonna work as a waitress. If everybody can do it, you know, I can do it. It's fine. And they come in. They start coming the first day. They come in. They think, oh my god, this looks a little bit cool. Yeah, it's fun. You know, the buzz, like you said, Julian. Yeah, and they're, oh my, this is great. And then obviously you start realizing that it's a very fun job, and the team is cool, because another thing that I noticed in hospitality is that usually the bond in the teams is great. You know, people go out afterwards, and they always have a great relationship between them. Different than offices. You know, in offices you don't get that all the time. But in hospitality, you always get it. It doesn't matter which restaurant it is. You know, we've had many and we worked in many. And the buzz is always the group. There's always a group of people. They're always getting together. And then suddenly the guy starts getting a bit late a couple of times, you know, because he drank too much, or because he slept in, or whatever it is. And that's the first couple of slaps that people really get, you know. These guys are like, hey, if you're late again, you're out. Yeah. Oh my god, I need to put my act together, you know. And then it's the first real professional environment for a lot of these guys. And if you have a good manager, I do believe that if you have a very good manager, you can see the difference between the people that had a good manager and the ones that didn't have it, because it just takes a couple of slaps and they are straight as an arrow after that, and they will be straight as an arrow for the rest of their lives. And I mean it, for the rest of their lives. Yeah. When the ones that didn't come from good managers, you can start looking and you smell it and say, hey mate, you're taking the piss. Yeah. What? Why are you taking? Because you got away a few times before or whatever. It just doesn't work like that, because you are actually not just letting yourself down, you're letting all the other guys down. The moment that you are late, yeah, is the other guys who have to get everything ready whilst you are just whatever, you know, having a shower at home because you had a rough night. So it's what the rest of the team has to do to cover your ass. Yeah. And if they understand it and they get it the right way, that's it. The professional career just completely changed from then on. That's how I see it.
Yeah. What would you say makes a good manager? You say a good manager and a bad manager. What makes a good manager?
I think a good manager is the one that realizes that he doesn't need to manage, is the one that needs to lead. I think that's that the managers that think that what they are doing is managing a job or people or business, those are the ones that fail, because they believe that results can only be measured by numbers, or results is measured by you know, ticking all the boxes that they need to tick, yeah, or hitting all your targets. I've seen a lot of people in my life that can hit loads of targets, and they deliver everything that they are asked to, but they're not good managers. Because for me, a good manager is a person that can convey a good message to their team, and that their team believe in it, and that the team would take a bullet for that guy, yeah, and they would not just do things because they get rewarded or they get punished. Is the people who do the things because they understand that they are the right way, they do it the right way because it's the right thing to do, and because that's what's needed. And when you have someone that can convey to their teams, that's a good manager. That's when I know that is a good manager. So that's what, in essence, that's what a leader is. You know, a person that is not bullshitting anybody, is not lying to them, is not trying to get them to deliver something purely because they're going to get a bonus at the end of the day, or because if you don't do it, you're going to get punished. Because, you know, a lot of people can deliver lots of ticks by threatening people. You know, hey, you do this and you get this or you get that. For me, that's not a good manager, because one day something is going to go wrong and they will not be able to turn things around. Whereas a good leader gets all the team behind it. They all understand the message. They know what they need to do. They know exactly what they need to deliver. So If something changes and something is not there to be done the way that the manager thought it should be, the team will work together and they'll pull it out because they have brains. You're empowering people to do what they have to do because they are behind it. They know the message. They know what needs to be done in order to deliver it. It's not just, hey, you score a goal because that's what we need to do. No, I want a guy that understands the whole team, everything that happens. So if someone gets injured or something happens, I know what I need to do to cover that guy or whatever it is. Yeah. So that's for me, the way I see it, Usually those are the leaders that get the most out of people more than anything.
So my question to you is, who was the first person that you saw that made you realize that that's what a leader should be like? Was there someone in your life that showed you that the first time? I remember the first person for me, it was my PE teacher in year 7, Mr. Wade. First person I respected instantly, and I'll probably remember him for the rest of my life. And he was our school football coach and all this stuff, but I just remember that forever.
Yeah, it's such a difficult way to see it because I think, probably my parents are not going to be happy with this answer, but the first person that I, in my life, saw that had the charisma to lead people, and I don't think he was necessarily a leader, but he had this charisma that I know that everybody he spoke to or touched in one way or another would remember him forever and would do whatever was needed, was my granddad from my mom's side. The one that lured me into working in his office, yeah. But he was incredible. He was just walking down the streets, and pretty much everybody in the neighborhood knew who he was, yeah. And everybody would just, how are you? Do you need anything? How are you? And it's like, I was thinking, why does everybody know this guy? Why does everybody talk to him like that? You went to him to the supermarkets, and he was just talking to the cashier, and then suddenly, by the end of the conversation, by the end of the, you're just passing, tick, tick, tick. At the end of it, the lady already knew his name. The lady was already having a conversation with him, and everything was so special. And I was like, wow, this guy is special. So that was my granddad, but I didn't realize really what this was really about until later on in life. Obviously, yeah, I'm thinking about it now, really. But just like you mentioned, now there was one person that I realized one day that started putting some chips in me, yeah, without me noticing. You know what I mean. You said you probably had the same relationship with your PE teacher. You didn't realize, but the PE teacher was putting some chips on you, probably. Yeah, that's why you remember him. Yeah, he was teaching you something every time, wasn't he? I assume. Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
This was a teacher, Marta. She was a Spanish language teacher. So she's like an English teacher, but in Argentina. Yeah. So I wasn't particularly good at it at all. 0, to be honest with you. Yeah. But I remember that when this United Nations thing was about to happen, in my school, in my secondary school, I never had the best grades. Never. I wasn't bad, but I was always okay. I was like a 7 out of 10. A guy that I didn't have to study. I was coming to school. I had fun. I loved school. Yeah. I really enjoyed it throughout the whole secondary school. I loved it, and I was always ticking the boxes, doing the right thing because I was good at it. I was good with people, and everything was great. But the school wanted to send the best, the best of the school to this thing. Yeah, and it was actually something called the Global Leadership Convention in Washington, yeah, in Washington, D.C. So they were sending people from different countries to represent, from schools and countries to represent the countries into this place in Washington. And the school wanted to send the best academic pupils, yeah. I had no chance, yeah, on that sense. But I remember that this teacher came over to the principal, and I was actually there, but at the time, and she said, "Look, I believe that Thomas should go." And the principal was like, "No, because he doesn't have the best grades." And she said, "No, but this is about leaders, and he's the leader of the pack here." And I said, "No, I'm not." It's like, me? But no chance. Yeah, I was just having fun in life, and I remember that she actually made the principal send me over there, and that was the day I realized maybe I can become a leader. Maybe I can. And then obviously I ended up realizing I could be the captain of the football team, and I could be this and that, and without noticing, one thing took me to the next. Um, but yeah, I would say probably was between my granddad and her.
Nice.
Nice. Guys, we're about to cut off because we've only got 40 minutes on this Zoom thing. So I'm going to quickly end this call. Boom. So we're back. Sorry about that.
I think it's connecting.
Oh.
There he is.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Perfect. We're
He's
back.
back.
Yeah, it sucks. We only get 40 minutes on Zoom, but we'll...
I know, yeah. Unless you have to pay. Yeah.
That's how, yeah, we hadn't upgraded yet.
Keeping it lean.
Hey, tough times for everybody, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah, strange times.
So one of the questions that I had for you, so what's been, in your career, what would you say your toughest challenge has been?
Oh, God. People is always the toughest challenge. Yeah, I do believe that people is the most important part of any career. Yeah, but and it becomes challenging. But I would say, give me a few more months, because probably I'm going to say that this coronavirus has been the most challenging point. That's for sure. Yeah, but if I take that out of the equation, I think the biggest challenge has been growing the business. Sometimes without having experience, I believe that obviously in the Western world we don't value experience the same way as the Eastern world does. We look at our elderly or people with experience, and the first thing we think is, you know nothing about this, mate. Yeah, you're too old for this. Yeah, you don't understand. Yeah, let me do it. I know this. I've read a lot of books, or I listen to a lot of podcasts. Yeah, or I know what I'm talking about. And I realized that is a big mistake. Well, I was very lucky that whilst we were doing this business, there's four people involved in the business. Yeah, and all three are older than me. Robert, who is really my mentor in a way. Yeah, he's 60 odd. And if it wasn't for him, obviously I wouldn't have been able to do this, because what he had is experience, and his experience, more than anything, is an experience of someone that was very successful, and one day he lost it all. And that experience is invaluable because you learn from the mistakes that he made. So even with his experience, every business is different, every time is different, and we had done in the past, in this 10 years of the business, a couple of times when we grew the business faster than what we invested in the people in the head office, in a way. Yeah, so we said, okay, let's go and open a few restaurants, and then it was just me and two more guys in head office. And so, my God, I can't deal with this. It's just impossible. I can't cope with it. It's just and then we did it again afterwards. Obviously, we didn't really learn from our experience. And we went out there, and then we tried to open a couple of restaurants very close together. This was in 2016, 17, I think it was, and we had an opportunity. It wasn't really because we wanted to do it; it's just the opportunity was there. Two locations came up. We wanted to trial new things, two new brands. So we said, okay, let's go and do it. And it was just, instead of being quite apart, they were just too close to each other. And at that point, the strain that we had in the head office team was absolutely ridiculous. I remember I was just, one of them in a way failed because we didn't really spend the time that it required. And that was very hard, because, I knew that what I was doing was wrong. I knew that the way that I was doing it was wrong. And the time that we had to close that business, and I had to go and speak to these people and tell them, look, unfortunately, we're closing these restaurants. Thankfully, we could take a few people on to the other businesses that we had, but some we couldn't. That is the hardest thing, and that's what I'm saying. It's about the people. It's about what you do, the decisions that you make that affect the lives of others. That is always the most challenging thing. And especially when that your experience should have given you, you know, enough understanding for you to make a different decision and a different choice, and you have saved, you know, a few people from being sacked. But going back to the coronavirus, you know, a few weeks ago, when I saw what was happening, when I saw that restaurants were going to be closed, when I saw that things were not going to be great for not just us but for everybody, when I could see the path of the economy, the path of the country, and that kind of stuff, God, you know, there was about 2 weeks where I just couldn't sleep. I wasn't feeling well. I had to throw, you know, this strength at it, because that's what your team wants you to be, you know, there for them. But I can't. I'm not that kind of leader. You know, I really, you know, I cry in front of them. I tell them I don't know what to do. I show them my real emotions, and they could see that even though I was trying to be strong, I felt the weight of 400 people really on my shoulders, and 400 families. You know, a lot of them have families, and I was. You should have seen my reaction when the chancellor told that they were going to launch this job retention scheme. Yeah, because for me, the only option was for us to survive as a business was to lay off everybody, and they won't have any money whatsoever. The day that he released that press, I couldn't stop crying for about half an hour. It was the pressure was so big, Julian, so big, because I knew that, you know, if we didn't have a way to you know, give money to these people for them to survive, they will be out in the streets in a way. I know that probably the government will cover them from a different angle, but I still felt that they were like my family. I felt that responsibility towards these guys, and that was up until today the hardest feeling I had from a business perspective ever. I fired a lot of people because that's what you have to do sometimes, and it's not nice. Sometimes in good, sometimes in bads, but I never ever felt like I did during that week and a half, 2 weeks, whilst I knew where things were going, and yeah, it was very hard.
I can imagine. I can totally imagine, and I'm sure a lot of businesses are going to be going through this right now, and unfortunately, a lot of people have. There's a lot of uncertainty out there. So, how do you manage that in yourself? Like, what are some of the things that you put in place to keep yourself calm, or as best can be?
I'm not good at this, mate.
No,
I'm really not good at this. I'm not good at it. I do. Well, I haven't done it for a while, actually. I should have done it in those 2 weeks. But at home, everybody does mindfulness. You know, we use an app, and you know, we try to meditate and kill that instinct of I need to do things all the time and feel pressure and anxiety just by trying to stop it. Yeah, for a few minutes, and so we try to do that. But I think the rest of the family is a lot more advanced than me. My children, for sure, they're better than me at that. But I am also, that's who I am. I don't. There's no cool in me, and in the way that I am, I do absorb that stress from other people in me, and I feel that I try to be that rock for the people, you know, for the team. And I really try to do it. It's wrong, because obviously what happens, I end up imploding or exploding every now and then. Yeah, so it's not great. But the only way I have to release it is through sports. So I go to the gym, and I just I kill it. You know, those are the days. Usually, the more stressed I am, those are the days that I come out of it. And you at the end of the hour, you look at me, and I'm at the floor, absolutely knackered. You know, I can't even raise my hands. And then I ask myself, why do I put my body to such a pressure? And I think I know why, because I need to release steam. I just go over the top. You know, I look at my watch, and it's like, oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack probably, but I need it. Do you know what I mean?
100%. I know exactly what you mean. It's that feeling for me. I've built a gym in my house just to always like exercise. It's something that's very close to me. And you as well, James.
Yeah, same. The no gym stuff at the moment is killing me. It's hard. It's nice to have that time to just burn off any excess stress, or just don't look at your phone and work out for an hour. And it's amazing what it does for you. It's really amazing. People that don't go to the gym listen to people that do go to the gym, and it's you fucking lying.
Witchcraft.
You can't feel better for making yourself tired, but you do. It's really amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And I do CrossFit. And I'm not, on body, I'm not big. I do a lot of weightlifting and that kind of stuff. But for me, what I need is, as you just said now, it's just 1 hour where, yes, if I'm tired physically, probably I'm more relaxed mentally. So I need 1 hour that I just try to give everything that I can. I just don't think about anything else. Usually my best ideas happen when I'm doing it, weirdly enough. Yeah. I think it's got to do with that. I think the brain works when you're exercising, the brain is sparking other kind of endorphins and things, and you think better. I don't know. I actually went to once I went to a seminar. A guy from the US was telling these stories about why he takes his managers to a walk around the building when he has very important things to discuss, because he said that the body releases endorphins, and that allows you to be more creative and think better and blah blah blah. Maybe there's a lot of science behind that, yeah. But in my case, is when I'm in the gym, sometimes I finish and there's like, yeah, I think I know what I need to do with this, but it doesn't matter because it feels like I do feel refreshed, as you said. I feel like, hey, you're not tired? No. And going in the mornings for me is the best thing, because I drain everything in the morning, and then the rest of the day I feel like, okay, I'm ready for this. Come on, bring it on. Yeah. Do you do it in the mornings or in the evenings?
Yeah, I'm the morning guy. Yeah.
I'm definitely I'm the sometimes morning or evening. It depends on my mood throughout the day. I'm always like that, up and down. But we are getting close towards the end of our podcast. We've still got 15 minutes to go. One question I really want to ask is,
go on,
Fazenda, where does the idea come from? So how, tell us about it. Where did this idea of the business come from?
It's going to be very disappointing for some people. Yeah. No, look, the truth is that, Robert and I, we come from South America. And Robert used to have just a normal steakhouse in Huddersfield. And what he had was, a high-end steakhouse that represented Argentina. Yeah, it was very top end, very nice. And I remember that when we started talking, Robert and I, he said, "Look, I want to do it like the Brazilian way of doing the steakhouses." Yeah, and he said, "Yeah, that's cool. I love it. When I was living those 10 years in Brazil, I used to go there all the time, and there's a few across Buenos Aires and in other places. So, yeah, let's go for it. I love the idea, and I also feel that." I said to him, "I also feel that there's nothing high end in the UK." So I said, "Look, I don't want to do anything." I said to Robert, "I don't want to do anything that I wouldn't go to. I don't want to do a restaurant that I don't enjoy. I don't want to do a themed restaurant. I don't want to do a restaurant that is for tourists, yeah, or that kind of feeling, where it's all very gimmicky and you have the Brazilian flags on the walls and the naked girls dancing and that kind of stuff." Because I tell you what, Robert, I said to him, I would never go to a place like that. Yeah, not because I don't like girls, but because I don't like going to a restaurant that has that feeling. I want to go to a restaurant that makes me feel good, that the quality of the food is great, that I don't feel that I'm in a themed place, that the guys who are running it know nothing about where it comes from. So really, the reason why we did Fazenda is because we wanted to make a restaurant that we would like to go to. This is the reality behind it. So when we created Fazenda, when we were about to start Fazenda, I was going to Buenos Aires, to Argentina, yeah, through Atlanta, and I stopped in Atlanta, and Robert said to me, "Look, just go and check this restaurant out, because I think we can do something like these guys, yeah, because there was nothing like that in England. Yeah, nothing the way that we wanted it. We couldn't find anything in the UK that was the way that we wanted it. So we were still looking at for ideas and things. So I stopped. I went to that place, and the moment I saw that place, I picked up the phone. I called Robert straight away. I remember this was early 2010. I said, Robert, jump on the next plane to Atlanta. You need to come and see this place. So really, it came from what we wanted to do, but when we saw this place, that's when we really could see the vision. You know, we knew what we wanted, but we needed to see it first. Fazenda doesn't look anything like that place, really. Yeah. But we knew that it was possible. When that happens, when I saw it, we knew that it was possible. So anybody can come and say to us, well, you copied that. And I say, no, it's not what happens. What really happened is we knew that what we wanted to do was possible by seeing that. And so that's what it is, really, a place that we're passionate about and that we like going to.
Yes, we love it. We've been quite a few times, haven't we, James?
Yeah, man. I remember when it opened and it was just, you couldn't get in there for weeks. I don't remember a restaurant opening in Leeds that was booked out for like months in advance.
We were so lucky, mate. You have no idea. Because when we opened, that was back end of 2010. Actually, in November this year is going to be 10 years. When we opened it, recession was at its peak. You remember 2008 crash, 2009 everybody was getting sacked, yeah, and then 2010 was like, oh my God, the country's at standstill. So at the beginning of 2010, when we were planning on doing this, Robert had another restaurateur that was a friend of his, and he was closing restaurants everywhere. And this guy came and said to us, when we looked at the units, yeah, and we came to the unit and said, hey, this place looks amazing. But obviously, it was nothing. There was nothing in Granary Wharf. It was just starting, you know, and the hotel was about to get finished, yeah. The hub wasn't even open yet. There was only like a teppanyaki restaurant there under the arches, yeah. And we were walking around there, and we thought, this place looks amazing. We brought the guy, our friend, the restaurateur friend, yeah, and he said, guys, you're absolutely crazy opening a restaurant here. He said, there's no corporate money. People are not spending any money out there. You'll be lucky if you last them, 6 months. And weekends, who's going to come over here for the weekends? I don't think you're going to be dead on Sundays, the guy said to us. So Robert and I started being a little bit like worried. Oh my God, what do we do now? We already chose the place, we signed the lease. I love the place. Come on, we can do it. And it was crazy because, as you said, the first week we did 100 people on a Saturday, which for us was crazy. It was like, oh my God, we did 100 people on the first Saturday. How did it happen? And it just went like that, literally like that. And I remember once we saw, because the guy said, this guy said, you think that you're going to be opening this restaurant here at this time of the year, 2010, where the recession is hitting everywhere, in Yorkshire, where people are so tight? He said, listen, the guy said, if you survive here, if you succeed here, you tell you what, you can take over the world. So every time we see this guy, every time we see him, we say, oh, the next step, if we're going to take over the world, we're going to take over the world. And he laughs because it was a funny time. But anyway.
Oh, that's brilliant, man. That's brilliant. So we've got some, how long have we got, Julian? Does it tell you?
Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes left. We can start.
So we've got, because we're locked down, right? We've got some lockdown questions. So we've got four questions for you. So the first one is, if you could be locked in isolation with any two people, dead or alive, who would you pick and why?
My granddad. Yeah, I definitely would do that. I haven't seen him for a long time. And there's a few, but you said two, yeah? So I need to be very, very, very clear here. Yeah. I am a big Winston Churchill fan, personally.
Winston.
So I probably would say Winston Churchill. Yeah,
Nice.
there's others out there, but I think probably my granddad and Winston Churchill, they're very similar, big fat guys. But anyway, probably going to have I can guarantee you would have had an amazing meal. Yeah, lots of great wine and great whiskey. Yeah, we'll have lots of fun. I can guarantee you that. Yeah, it will be a good lockdown. Yeah.
Second question: if you can recommend one book for people to read during this time of this lockdown, what is it and why?
I'm not great with books. I
Or
only started
program we
reading
can
a
say
few
as
books
well.
lately. No, I would probably watch Seinfeld all day if I could. Yeah, but yeah. A book. Let me think of a book. I'm reading one now that I like it, just because it makes me feel that there's a chance out there for businesses, and it's called "Let My People Go Surfing." It's from the I haven't read it for a few weeks now, but it's about the story of the owners of Patagonia, the brand Patagonia,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really about how important it is to have a awareness of the world when you're running a successful business. Your responsibility as a business owner or leader to make sure that whatever decisions you make, you try to mitigate, the consequences of your decisions. And I'm liking it, but I'm not going to say to you that that's the best book ever. I'm not a massive book reader. I love movies though. Yeah, I can sit down and watch The Godfather over and over again, all of them. Yeah.
Recommend one movie that will let you off the hook.
Do you know what? I might have to add that to the question.
An isolation movie.
Isolation movie.
Yeah, recommend.
I'll tell you which one I will recommend. I'm gonna say it's my favorite, but a movie that I really like is Captain Fantastic. Have you watched it?
I don't think I've seen that.
I have not.
Oh man, that's fucking brilliant.
We'll check it out. Captain Fantastic.
Check it out, Captain Fantastic. Yeah.
Got you. What's the first thing? Next question. What's the first thing you're gonna do when this is all over?
When this is all over, I will open the door of Fazenda, and I'm gonna give a hug to every single one of the guys that are gonna be there, because I know they will be there. Every single one of them.
Solid answer. And last question there. Do you have a goal in mind or that you've set yourself that you want to come out with by the end of this lockdown?
The end of this lockdown?
Yeah.
I do, but it's a difficult goal. I want to make sure that by the end of this lockdown, I feel that I've done everything I could for the communities that we represent, for every city that we've got a restaurant in. So that's what we're working on at the moment, trying to give back, and also make sure that every single one of our employees has a job when we open back up. That for me those are the two goals that I've got in a way. Give back and make sure that everybody has a job to come back to.
Boom. Awesome. Well, that's awesome to hear. I want to thank you again for coming on. Been really good to talk to you, and I definitely feel like we should do a part 2 for this.
Yeah,
it feels like there's so much more that
yeah.
we can go into, and I'm sure our listeners will think the same.
Yeah, I can tell you more about personal stuff as well. That would be fun as well, I imagine. But yeah, I can talk a lot.
I can imagine you probably have definitely a few more stories, interesting stories that us and our listeners would love to hear. So we'll definitely have to do that.
Yeah. I tell you what, I tell you one now. Yeah, I met Diego Maradona a couple of times. That is for the next podcast.
Do you know what we do? Yeah, all right, 100%. Let's do it.
1000%. I want you in the studio. I don't want to do it over.
Yeah, we'll have to do it in the studio, where we can sit in front of
That
each
would
other
be great.
and get the stories out.
That would be great.
Amazing, man.
And I've also been to Mauritius. Lovely place, Mauritius, man. Absolutely incredible.
Been to Mauritius?
Yeah.
Nice. Whereabouts on the island have you been?
We had friends living there, and we went to visit them. They were in a place called River Noir.
River Noir. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was in English. It was in French, wasn't it?
Yeah, River Noir. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice.
Well, do you know what? I can't wait to speak to you again now. So we'll have to get that booked in. But Tomas, thank you again, and stay safe during these times.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Take care, mate. Thank you. Bye.